Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Tonight's show is going to be on moves and counter moves. I'm going to try to keep this one fun. It's going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. I want to point things out. So not everything's going to be actual facts. There's going to be hypotheticals, opinions, pointing things out that, giving you guys a reason why you should be questioning everything. Maybe shedding some light on what you're seeing that's going on. I'll give it a little bit for a few people to join. Then we'll get started. But, I think most of you have come watch some of my videos. You know I'm big on labels. I'm big on a lot of things, constitutional issues. There's a lot going on in the world today. I mean, just this past 2 weeks, we've seen stuff that's tragic events that have happened. Then we see how our politicians, our cesspool of the government, spin things. But we also see how there's a lot of desperation going on right now. We're starting to see a lot of our politicians' true colors. And we're also seeing so much stuff. We're seeing gun control being talked about, and we have the racism. And we still have the classic old left-right paradigms going on. And, my favorite, information and misinformation. I mean, these are all tactics. There's all moves and counter moves based on these things. Last week we've seen the three major companies of Twitter, Facebook, and Google before Congress. There's been an oddity going on tonight on Twitter that I've been watching. Several people, it's like all of a sudden they're getting mass followers, 200, 300 followers out of nowhere. Interesting. We haven't quite figured that one out. If it happened to me, I'd be worried, considering how controversial I can be on all sides of the spectrum. Because I call it like I see it. I voice my opinions and my views as I see them at the time. And yes, I do sometimes do moves and counter moves. I mean, image says it all. Since I've come back, I've kind of used this image for the last two videos. Reasons behind it, because we are looking at a grand stage. We're looking at grand chess masters playing chess before our eyes. Some of them think they can treat us like pawns. Well, that's okay. I don't mind being a pawn because I know what a grand chess master thinks of a pawn. It is the most dangerous piece on the board. It's the most important piece on the board. I was once taught that everything is a tool. It is how you use it. When a tool no longer has a need, you put it away. Or you find a better tool. It's statistic logic. First to admit it. But in this day and age, in this world we're living, we kind of have to look at it that way. Everything is a tool. The reason I want to do this broadcast is I want you to question everything. I want you to open your mind. I've preached on this subject. They pit us against each other so much. They've got our nation, our country, this beautiful country we live in, so divided. Yes, I see great things happening. I see And at the same time I see bad things, I see tons of moves and counter moves happening right before our eyes. But we get caught up in one of their counter moves, pitting us against each other, feeding us into this chaos, pitting us against our race and nationality, culturism. I watched a live stream Sunday night that Lauren Southern did. I know, probably some of you are not a fan. The point is, she did a show. And she ended up saying it was a shit show. But you know what? It was one of the best streams I've seen in a while. Why? She had the balls and the guts to bring people from the alt-right, left, liberals, conservatives, all into one stream. All your little labels we use, she brought them all to one stream. Of course, it was chaos, as would be expected. It got out of control a few times. A lot was brought up, a lot was said from each of the individuals, things that you could see where there are real valid points there that were made and brought up. But they can't see that. I mean, one of the topics. I mean, it's just moves and counter moves. One of the things that was talked about was how women are no longer stay-at-home moms. They're in the workplace, or the dad choosing to be. They didn't use this as an example, but I will, because I know plenty of fathers out there that are stay-at-home dads while the mother works because she gets better medical benefits than the dad could get. Which is, and they talked about it. You know, that's why we're not seeing, you know, they want to throw race in it. It has nothing to do with race, guys. This stuff happened in the 90s when they started raising prices on things, forcing the parents that have families to have to both work. You know, they want to blame and talk about the race issues. You know, oh, we need to have more white babies. We need to have this. They miss the important issues, how these issues come about, how these things come about. Why do we have, I'd say, like I said, fact check me, probably not going to be accurate. I'd say 75% of our families out there, both parents work. And it might be closer than I think. I think the number's higher, honestly, but that's my opinion and view. I don't feel like looking up statistics for this show on this particular video because it's not the point. The point is to make you question. Well, nobody questioned the fact, why did this happen? Why is it both parents now forced to work? And there's been ideologies from other movements, from the labels that's fed into the system. But it originated with, you raise the prices on things, you force it so the average, everyday middle-class person that gets married, starts having kids. Once they have two, I mean, you could struggle with one kid and kind of have one parent stay at home. Once you get to two, it requires both parents working. You know, everybody, I've talked about this before, the deception of raising the minimum wage. Fine, raise the minimum wage. What good does it do? When that gallon of milk that costs $3.50, we'll say, I think it was $3.50 back when I did the video. Now they raise minimum wage, so what does the corporations do? What does the businesses do? So we're making $18 an hour now. Great, we're going to have some money. No, because there's no regulations put in place on the corporate sector. They'll raise prices to match the increase of minimum wage. So therefore, you're making less. Well, no, therefore, you're not making less. You're still paying the same as you were. Granted, instead of paying $3.50 now, you're paying like $8.50 or $7.50, somewhere in there. So you're not gaining nothing. In fact, you're actually losing because, oh, we increased the minimum wage, so therefore we increased your tax bracket. Now you're making less. Now you definitely both have to be working. But because we get caught up in these labels, these left-right paradigms, conservative, liberty, feminism movements and all these different movements, we miss the very important fix. You put a law into place so they can't raise it. Let them make 5% extra. Cool. So now you get 95% of that increase. Fix it so by that $18 raise, because you went from 10, 11, 7, or 8, whatever it is in your state. Every state's different. Depends on positions and what you're working. You just went from making, let's say me, I was making $10 an hour as a prep cook. I got promoted to meat cutter, cutting steaks and stuff. Because of the percentage of numbers and the skill that I showed and being able to cut properly, I ended up getting a $1 raise. Took me to $11. I jumped the tax bracket. So instead of bringing home every 2 weeks, $800, $900 every 2 weeks, I was bringing home 4 to 3 because I jumped the tax bracket. I lost money by getting a raise. There's no laws in place to stop this thing. So when we actually get rewarded for our hard work, then we get to enjoy the extra of it. No, those are the issues. When we talk about moves and counter moves, they do these things. They spin it in such language. They use party politics, identity politics, labels, and spin it into a course to where it sounds great. They sugarcoat it so well that it dilutes the fact that you won't look past, you won't question the real issues. Then you'll have the different labels arguing back and forth. Oh, the women need to be in the house or this, I'm all for it. Anybody who wants to work. But when you become a parent, this is the problem with the world today. Our kids are being babysitted by the iPad, the TV, Common Core from our teachers, and we're working our asses off. And our kids are getting brainwashed and indoctrinated. There is a major issue. And, it was funny, like I said, watching them talk, go back and forth. You can see the viewpoints. And you got to have an open mind when you listen to these. You got to be able to listen to anybody and everybody, no matter what their ideology, belief is. New thoughts can come from this. Fixes, answers to the problems that we're facing today. This is why they use moves and counter moves. Those that believe in a globalist agenda. One of the greatest moves and counter moves, as I've theorized, it's a theory. It's a scary theory because it seems to be played out perfect. So if we believe in the globalist agendas and globalist ideas, they were losing. They knew they were. Then it goes back to a video I am still going to do, the knight in white shining armor. They're looking for that knight in white and shining armor. History has shown it. Fairy tales tell of it. We all believe in a knight in white and shining armor, the Robin Hood. That face, that savior that's going to come along and save us from this darkness that we're in. They play on that. That's one of their major moves, and they play within those moves and counter moves within it. They knew pitting Hillary against Trump, Hillary would lose. They knew if they could stoke the fire so much, they could pit American against American. From it, we've seen the rise of new labels, new movements. We've seen old movements get movements, ideas change, their philosophies change, their ideologies change by people that infiltrated their groups. Guys, give me 1 second. I need to go grab something to drink before I start coughing. Sorry about that, guys. I've been trying to stave off a cold. Crazy Ohio weather. 70 degrees one day, 30s the next. But as I was saying, they use these moves. They infiltrate our groups that we identify ourselves to. You know, and they play on it. We see our politicians do it all the time. They do it with the tragedy that happened Sunday. Oh, now we need gun control. Now we start seeing more gun events being more publicized. Well, the fact is, the gun didn't kill anybody. The mental case behind it that decided he was going to go on a murder spree did. The gun's not going to fire itself. It needs somebody to pull the trigger. But I don't see anybody yelling knife control as this guy's trying to stab this woman in an apartment in New York, and this other lady comes up and starts beating the guy wielding a knife with a broomstick. Oh, so we're going to ban broomsticks because you injured the guy wielding a knife trying to stab somebody. Oh, I see. You know, here's the ugly fact about that. Moves and counter moves. You know why? They're scared. They riled up our nation so much that our politicians, our crooked politicians, are scared. Because our Constitution protects us. It says in case our government ever goes corrupt to more of a dictatorship, that we have the right to bear arms and take back our government. They know this. They fear it. And at any given chance, they will go after it. So they'll blame the gun, they'll blame the NRA. But yet you don't really see them. Here's another move and counter moves. They blame the NRA. But they never really forced the NRA. Let me tell you why. Ask some of your old vets. Better yet, ask your mailman or your delivery guy that delivers from certain groups when you order off certain sites and they bring it to you. Ask them. By being a member of the NRA, you, for those that don't ever want to see a registry for guns, well, congratulations, you have registered yourself as a gun owner. That is a fact. Why? What is the mail service? Who runs the mail service? They know that you get a letter every month from the NRA. One, you, the people, we the people, are our voice. We don't need a corporation to be our voice, especially when a corporation, on a constitutional matter, gives an inch. We should never give an inch when it comes to the Constitution. The Constitution is clear, black and white. They know this, but yet they find ways to moves and counter moves. All right, we'll give you an idea. Since we know you'll never let us fully force you to register your guns. You know, some states try. We'll monitor it through the mail service. But I'm not telling you not to be a member. That is your right. That's your freedom. The Constitution allows us to do that. But don't think it's all, there ain't games being played there as well. Any organization that gives an inch on our Constitution is not an organization of we the people for the people. They don't represent us. I know for many of you that would take a lot of soul searching. For me, it's been black and white since I was a child. Since my grandfather passed on that information to me. And he served in the military, and none of our families have ever been NRA members. So let's get on a little bit more political. You know, we hear people in Congress screaming about Trump's tweet. Let's talk about moves and counter moves, shall we? I mean, it's just genius how Trump plays them like a fiddle with his tweets. He plays the media like a fiddle with his tweets. It is an ultimate grandmaster at chess playing out before your eyes. He uses his social media account to bait our politicians, to rile them up, so they show their true faces. When he said he was going to drain the swamp, yeah, we don't see it happening. But I tell you what, I see a lot of snakes showing their ugly face every day, showing how ugly they really are, how bad our cesspool is. Tell you what, that was a genius move on his part. They're showing what they really are. The media has been showing what they really are. We just had Twitter in Congress admit to censorship, to controlling what trends. In Congress, under oath, admitted it. Chalk another one up for Alex Jones. Wow. Infowar just happened to be trending on something that Trump had said, or no, I can't remember what it was. It was something he said, and they said, because they brought up even the specific, this guy kind of brought up the specific time, he goes, calling it fake news, and I'm not sponsoring Alex Jones. You guys, anybody that's watched my videos, you know, anybody who watched my last video knows what I have to say about that. I'm sorry. I mean, I have him on Facebook. I get a live notification feed every day, 3-4 times a day, that his show is live. I've had that account since he's started the Facebook account, started streaming on there. But yet, Facebook's taking him down. Facebook's taking his videos down. Facebook has cut his stream. Well, can't tell. I still get notification. I still get live streams. I still go to check my notification when I'm on there. Oh, he's got a live stream that's showing, so if I want to go watch it, which I don't. But back then I was, I can tolerate him in small dosage. Moves and counter moves. He tells you these things are happening, and he asks for support. We want to support him because he's been right. He plays you just like everybody else does. He's no different from the rest. Moves and counter moves. And I know a lot of you guys will take offense to that. It's true. I want you to question things. That's all I ever do in any video I do. Unless it's strictly prepping. I haven't done one in a while because I've been away for a little bit on my own, doing my own thing. Taking a break, watching, observing. Something you guys all need to do. You need to stop, listen, watch, observe, be silent, don't comment. Just watch. Watch things play out for a little bit. Then you'll start seeing things how they really are. There is such a thing as information overload. They know it. They use it. Anybody hip to the Mesmer device? Well, let me tell you something. As technology grows, when we talk about pixels, every pixel has a color, multiple pixels. The more pixels, the more Mesmer effects you can create. You know what? We're dealing with 4K Ultra now. I know there's other advanced versions out there other than 4K, but 4K seems to be the newest one they're selling. It has a Mesmer effect. Start increasing the graphics, you start increasing the ability to influence the subconscious mind. Implant. These are actually facts. Study Mesmer. Study the effects of it. You know, they're always constantly using religion to divide us. That's part of their moves and countermoves. Even though this time around I've seen them get a little bit more vicious with it. It's like they don't care. Like I said, they've been pushed in a corner and they don't know how to act, so they're just lashing out, saying things that they would normally do differently. Normally be more subvert with in their moves and counter moves. Why? Because we have a president that is playing them like a fiddle. We have the Russian hacking and all that, collusion. We've had Project Veritas. I have people on video saying, oh, there's nothing there. We're just reporting it because we're told to. Because it sells. And they're right. It does. Disinformation sells. Information sells. You know who's going to rake in the money right now? Donna Brazil. Her book, #1. She's going to sell millions and make millions. But is there a move and counter moves there? Did somebody offer her a deal? You put this out? And because she was part of the DNC. See? It goes back to, like I said, you got to think, question. Things are happening before our eyes for a reason. Things are happening, put in motion for a reason. We got caught up in everything that happened Sunday. We missed the fact that Kushner came back from Saudi Arabia, as Saudi Arabia is doing mass sweeps. Which made me to question, okay, find out about that multi-billionaire, one of the richest men in the Saudi princes in the world. There's been theories that he owns a couple floors in a certain casino. There's also been some theories and some sound evidence out there from people like you in the truth community that's delved into this, found videos of helicopters where they're not supposed to be, mercenary units that weren't supposed to be there. Makes you wonder. Just like, I laughed. First thing I caught was he sent, $100,000 or $500,000 to the Philippines. Well, does anybody know what goes on in the Philippines? Does anybody know what a ghost weapon is? It's an untraceable weapon that's handcrafted in the Doro in the Philippines. It's that country that's Tamaduro is one of the leading countries that sells untraceable weapons because they make them handmade. All your calibers, they have no serial numbers. They are a ghost weapon. They make them, sell them dirt cheap. $100,000 could buy you bulk. Come back here in the United States, get them back here in the United States or other countries where they've been traced, make millions. But that brings us to another problem. Because now, any event that happens, any little thing that happens, we start hearing people, oh, it's a false flag, it's this. Sometimes we forget bad shit happens. There's bad people in the world. It's going to do bad things. Not everything is a false flag. But now, we have so much mistrust, which is interesting. We just had almost all the stuff from the JFK files released. Only small sections was unredacted, and then the CIA thought they were gonna. Oh no, you can't release. All of it got released. Yeah, why? Nobody's asked that. Why? Why Trump? Well, I mean, other than he said he would, but why? Anybody's actually? I know it's a tons of stuff to go through. I can only take it a small dosage, but I am from that generation that grew up, being told the stories, hearing the different opinions and views of how JFK died, how he was one of the greatest presidents. I've heard these stories. We were taught this in the school. Yeah, I can see why he released it. The truth finally come out. The truth that moves and counter moves. We were dealing in that time with a bunch of stuff, from the KKK to Nazism to fascism. We had the McCarthy era shortly after that, which, of course, now we're dealing with Russia, so we're dealing with the communist movement again. Moves and counter moves. If anything, we should be trusting our alphabet gangs a hell of a lot less after that release of information. But we already knew that, didn't we? But why? Why do you release it? Why at this time? Why did Mueller charge what was his name? Mumford or whatever? Why? On the charges that he brung up. Guys, that's a $5,000 fine, a slap on the wrist. Well, that very same week, they were calling for his job. But he had to do something, moves and counter moves. Now let's go off the deep end. Trump said he won't fire Mueller. Why? He has every right to. In fact, Mueller should step down with being linked to the uranium one thing. His name got brought up in that. He needs to recuse himself. He cannot have nothing to do with this case. Because it'll get thrown out. We have a mockery of justice going on right before our eyes. Or is that the play? Did Mueller actually turn evidence? Make a deal? Is he playing a game? Is this more part of the moves and counter moves? See what I'm getting at? You've got to question everything. You've got to play devil's advocate. Like I said, what if the whole shebang for the election, what if it was set up and designed that Trump would win? To cause all this chaos we see. What if they underestimated what they had? This thing about chaos, it's unpredictable. It's uncontrollable for the most part. You can manipulate it, weave it. But once it takes root, it spreads like wildfire. See, we're taught not to question. In a sense of what we've become all over again, the witch burnings, the persecution of heretics. We've become the heretics. So they don't want us to question. For those that don't know, what is a heretic? Free thinker. Heathen, free thinker. Free thinkers think, they question. They don't lean or put labels on themselves because they know there's truths in everything. They know without an argument opinion we can't learn and better ourselves. They know we have to have opposition. It challenges us to come up with greater and grander things. It teaches us to evolve. When you stop questioning things, you start losing the ability to be free thinkers. You start adapting to labels and ideologies. Then you don't question it when somebody's put into those groups, those labels to change the ideology of that original ideology that you originally joined it for. It's all moves and counter moves. They slowly implement, stick with the cause, bring in a few more other people, and slowly start changing the narrative. And when you've got such a chaos going on, people divided, you can see them sweep in, preaching ideologies that doesn't even match what that label and that movement was about. But because everybody's so pitted against each other, emotions are hot, fiery. You've been forced all this information, disinformation. You don't know who to trust, what to believe. You stop thinking, stop questioning what these people are saying, you know. Vetting, you should vet your own. In fact, no label should define you. No ideology should define you. You are a free thinker. You know, we bring up culturism, racism, religion. We forget our Constitution clearly says that's what makes America so great. You have the freedom to believe and worship what you want. You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom to think, speak, protest, as long as it's nonviolent. You have the freedom to express your views and opinions. Slowly and surely, they're taking that away from you. It's all moves and counter moves. They pit you against each other. They let events dictate things. You know, I'm against closed-door sessions, especially investigations. You know, I'm starting to be against our government policing themselves. They're not supposed to begin with. It's we the people for the people. We put them there. And they have a right to fear us. They should. But they don't. Why? We're so divided. They've shown their true colors. They should no longer be in office. And come next election time, they better not be in office. Because they're not about us. They haven't been for many years. We should have health care and tax reform done already. No, they don't care. Anything that takes from their pocket, they're going to be against. Anything that betters us, they're going to be against. Because to better us, it's got to take from their pockets. Or it goes against the corporation. I mean, we watched our corporations pull some stupid moves. Pharmaceuticals, we'll talk about moves and counter moves. They introduce on TV all these new drugs for all this new stuff. Then right at the end, they give a whole list of side effects. We live in this day and age of technology, this day and age where most of our pharmaceuticals should have no side effects. Moves and counter moves. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard the stories of our soldiers over in Afghanistan talking about we're just sitting here protecting poppy seeds, poppy fields. Why? For the pharmaceutical industry. Why? Because they can get it cheaper now that we're protecting it. They're not getting raped by the warlords on prices. Or they can just come in and take it and not have to pay the warlords. I use the term warlords because that's how they were run things over there. But that was their economy. That was Afghan's number one cash crop economy was the poppy fields. And they made millions and billions off big pharma. Moves and counter moves. I wasn't sure if I was going to get into this topic or not, because I'm not sure how I feel about it. Oh, I know how I feel about it. I could actually see the logic in it, and it makes perfectly good sense. I don't know how many of you watch BP Earth Watch, and I know some people that follow me can't stand him, so to each their own. This is what I go about talking about being open-minded. Being able to listen to everybody, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, be able to listen to them. Like I said, there's truth and knowledge and all and everything. As long as we trust ourselves, that's all that matters, ourselves. Can you discern lies from fact? Can you listen to yourself and take the information that you receive from all these different people, all these different beliefs, ideologies? Because you're going to feel it. You're going to know what you're drawn to, what speaks to you. Start listening to yourself. And a lot of these moves and counter moves, you'll see them for what they are. Life's not easy, guys, especially in this day and age. We've got so much stuff going on in this world. But I had to ask myself this when he did this broadcast. I kind of asked myself when this kind of happened in Brazil. How is it all these other countries can clean their cesspools or make an attempt to? Brazil failed. But they brought a light in it. They found out the people done taking the crap. Then we see this new Saudi soon-to-be prince, soon-to-be king, whatever he is. Wow. I mean, I gotta play devil's advocate. I gotta look at both sides. Well, maybe it's just him taking care of loose ends, seizing, make sure he has no eliminating any other legitimates that might be out there, successors to his throne. We'll put it that way. Got to look at it that way, because that is a possibility why he's won about and done this. But the corruption charges, those are legit. I mean, I don't try this. But why can't we clean up our cesspool the way these other countries that we've seen do? Why are these crooked politicians still in office? Why are these certain individuals that we've seen the evidence, we've read some of this stuff, They should be, most of them should be tried for treason, to be honest with you. You know what I think? I think it's coming. I think BP Earthwatch might have been on to something. Watching how Trump plays Twitter, plays the media, plays everything. For those that don't know, it was last weekend. We all got caught up in, Antifa's gonna rise up and do all this stuff. Shit. They even managed to get a publication in the New York Times talking about it. As we see, nothing came of it. I'm gonna get back to the subject because I'll tie it in. This weekend, there was a ham, for those familiar with old tech, ham radios, still around, still used to this day. There's a big drill for all the licensed ham operators out there in case of a blackout scenario. This is something BP Earthwatch missed. But some other people caught on to it. Dabu talked about it. I think it was Eric M. that I originally brought it up a couple weeks ago. But they were doing a nationwide drill in case of a blackout event to make sure that everybody could communicate over ham radios, communications and stuff. Well, there's another aspect to ham radios. Emergency Broadcast Network. This is what made BP Earthwatch's little thing interesting. The fact that, not sure where he got his information. He didn't link it, so that's why I'm not sharing the video, but hey, go check it out. Won't be hard to find. It was more at the end of the video. The first part he talked about what was going on in Saudi Arabia. Then he got to the middle, he started talking about Kushner being in Saudi Arabia, leaving, coming back to the United States from Saudi Arabia as all these roundups started taking place. Interesting. And that also got me thinking about, well, after hearing the one prince's name, knowing that he did own certain aspects in a certain said casino. Makes you think. Was it a covert op gone bad? Don't know. Like I said, everything's a false flag these days. Moves and counter moves. Then after JFK files come out, realize, yeah, right, okay. Be 50 years before we actually know what happened there. Cool. I got it. Interesting how that file came out, when it came out, the things that we're seeing, how it revealed hands in play. We're seeing more moves and counter moves going on now than we ever did in the Cold War. In a sense, wow, McCarthy might not have been so paranoid as we all thought when everyone's a communist. And it's just not communism. There's multiple factions, outside factions that's corrupted our government. Now they're so shaken up, not knowing what to do. They're just showing what a cesspool it really is. No, I don't call it a swamp anymore. It's a cesspool. But back to the topic at hand. He brought this broadcast up. There was, I'm going to say article because I'm not sure what it was, but it was interesting. Talking about here sometime, not so distant future, that everything's going to go dark. The military, let's talk about special orders put in place for the military to act on U.S. soil and a roundup to take place, going after all of these people that are corrupt. The blackout is to shut down news networks. The only information is going to come straight from the emergency broadcasting network. Why the blackout? To quell uprisings. Interesting how this stuff came out. Can't prove this one, guys. You guys are going to have to decide for yourself. I can see it. It's one hell of a move and counter moves. It's one hell of a strategic play. Because let's look at what November 4th was supposed to be. What if it was, and here I go talking about false flag. What if it was a false flag? What if it was to test the preparation of our police department's abilities to communicate? You know, I know, Doug, we did a video about the blackouts that were taking place Monday. You know, things are kind of falling in line. Pieces of a puzzle starting to emerge of, oh, what if this was just a fancy way of smoke and mirrors to get things set up, prepared for what is about to take place. But on the same token, if it wasn't, for all those who want to say, oh, we won, we didn't win shit. How many millions of dollars were spent in these states to the police department that you're going to end up having to pay for? It wasn't a win. There's more than one way to hurt countries and nations and states. You can hurt them. And one of the worst ways is financial. You start doing a lot of these protests, no one shows up but a handful, but you're tying in all these police, all that overtime pay, National Guard on standby. Yeah, states can't afford that to go on very long. Like I said, moves and counter moves. You have to look for all the pieces to the puzzle. And at the same time, you have to use discretion. Because a lot of times, these pieces and puzzles, they show up slowly, or they're like breadcrumbs on a trail. Oh, shit, that damn squirrel came by and ate half the breadcrumbs, so now I don't know which way to go. Oh, we'll keep going down this way a little bit longer, hopefully find some more. If not, I'll have to go back and go the other way. Until I find the breadcrumbs again. See what I'm saying? Moves and counter moves. Sometimes that little varmint that decided to eat some of the breadcrumbs was a plant to lead you in a different direction. A grand chessboard right before your eyes. Sometimes the best thing to do is not say anything, watch and observe. I've been wanting to do a video on moves and counter moves for a very long time, actually, for the past 3 months. I mean, I discuss it with people, but I go off field a lot. The time wasn't right. I don't know if the time was right this time, but I felt the need to do moves and counter moves. To discuss these things. To make you think, make you question, make you see different perspectives. You know how a grand chess master looks at a chessboard multidimensionally, always 20, 30, 40 moves ahead. And for all those 20, 30, 40 moves ahead, 20, 30, 40 counter moves with it, predicting how each piece is going to play, having a counter for each piece. That's what we're seeing before us. But as this roundup, as VP Earthwatch had put it, it would be on such a grand scale. Preparation needed to be done. has to be done subvertly, because there would be people that would rise up, and just not one-sided, because we're talking about martial law, we're talking about military taking over to quell oppositions. It would be a state of unrest, it would be a state of emergency. You know, sometimes you have to have people like quacks as they may be that talk about police states, understanding it. I did tune in today and it was interesting. Somebody made the comment, the caller called in about the very same thing, except for being it the opposite way. Instead of us being put in the police state, the opposition. I don't believe in coincidences. Nor am I saying that this said event would happen. But I would definitely keep my eyes open and show vigilance. Observe. Because there is such a thing, guys. Especially when it deals with all this information we're bombarded with. You know, people talk about going down the rabbit hole. Or people talk about numerology, which I hate because they don't even know jack about numerology. They think they do, but they don't. My point is, when you're looking for signs and symbols, you're looking for omens, you're looking for that sign from God, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. Something to think about. It's okay to go down the rabbit hole. Don't stay in it. It's okay to look for false flags, but don't believe everything is a false flag. It's okay to mistrust the platforms that we're on, because some instances from Twitter, the guy from Twitter in front of Congress, on a mission. They're not to be trusted. But at the same time, realize what we can do with that. You know, they forget one thing, and it was the whole purpose of the World Wide Web. Once information is on the net, it can never be removed. It is always there. It's always backed up somewhere. Somebody's got to copy it. Somebody's seen it. Somebody took a screenshot. Somebody used a program to download this video. Got it on their own personal drive from a computer. Nothing stays hidden or secret for long. For anybody that knows, even when you delete stuff off your computer, shred it, there's still an imprint of it there on your hard drive. You know, use the tools that they give us. Play by the rules if you can. Learn new ways to bring your information about. Maybe sometimes it's creating a whole different channel that doesn't have 100,000 followers. More followers you get, more attention you get. Share it through via email. Share your links and emails right in there. Watch this video, but please don't subscribe. slowly put it out there so it don't really trend fast. Something that trends fast is going to draw attention. Something that trends slowly over time is not going to draw so much attention. Put it on other platforms. As I found out, some platforms, the algorithms aren't recorded. The numbers don't add up. So by putting it over on the Mind, Gab, Twitter, I don't put nothing on Facebook. That's just a lost cause. Send some emails. It doesn't reflect on my watch rate here, but yet it does on those other platforms. Learn to use the other platforms. They're your tools. Learn to use YouTube as a tool. Now, as much as I hate to say this, I had created it, I never took it active. Create a Patreon account. You don't have to set it up for pay, to get paid for it. Use it as a backup. Draw followers there, a new audience. Create a free WordPress site. Upload your videos there, because obviously, as I've shown, numbers don't add up. Moves and counter moves. We got to think. We got to be free thinkers. We got to think outside the box. We got to question everything. We got to play devil's advocate a lot. We got to look for the pieces. Sometimes just let them fall as they fall. Don't even try to put them together. Eventually a pattern will start emerging. Like I said, I pointed out a little pattern that's been slowly falling together. I knew about how Trump was using his Twitter. Everybody, a lot of people did. We were aware. We've seen the tactics. We've seen the moves, the counter moves. We've seen the reactions he'd get. Which is why I don't comment on anything that he posts. Oh, I'm sorry. Not that I would just, some of the stuff he says I agree with. Sometimes I disagree with. I don't merit a comment to get flagged for. Oh, he commented on a Trump feed, so we need to kind of keep an eye on him. Don't draw unnecessary attention to yourself. A lot of you guys, I see a lot of your feeds on Twitter. Love some of the stuff you say. Don't mean I'm always going to comment. In fact, I'm very likely not to. So the only time I comment is I feel drawn to or need to. Or if you're somebody I actually kind of know and respect, I might comment from time to time. Although I have the opposite feeling about, like, when I do videos. Comment away so I can interact with you because I believe in interaction. That's why, I'm actually staring at my chat that nobody's talking in tonight. Which is okay. Because it's here, and it's going to be on other platforms by the end of the night. Those who are meant to see this will see it. Don't get caught up in the numbers game. That's another moves and counter moves. They baited you into it. You need all these followers. No, you don't. You probably should be striving for less. But they caught you up in the monetizing thing. When you agreed to monetize your channel, you agreed to also give up your freedoms. Something I learned the hard way. Learn from your mistakes, don't repeat them. Knowledge and information and wisdom should be given freely. Should never be charged for, should never be asked for anything in return. Doesn't mean that if you like what that person said and you want to support them, see if they got a PayPal, message them. There's moves and counter moves we can do to control these things, to prevent our freedoms from being taken from us. Like I said, for all the bad that happens on YouTube, there's no other platform out there like it There's still so much information, knowledge, wisdom, skills you can learn on YouTube. Use the tool that's there for you. Learn how to manipulate the tool so it works for you. Learn how to use other outlets and platforms for stuff that you know you can't talk about here. Well, yes, I know. I lose almost all my followers when I do that. So, it's not supposed to be about numbers. It's supposed to be about reaching new people, sharing ideas and views and opinions, getting into debates with people that have different views and opinions, learning from each other. Get in that debate, you're going to hit on issues that you'll find common ground on, or you'll see that maybe just because how you're wording it, you both view the same thing. That's why I said my hat's off to Lauren Southern. What she did, I'd like to see more of. I'd like to see other people doing, putting differences of ideology, religion, and beliefs to the side, bringing these people on. Because we'll start finding the real problems once we hash through the BS, the brainwashing stuff that we've been brainwashed, disinformation that we've been told was true. These debates like that, having these multiple people strive us to see through the illusions that's before us, makes us think outside the box, question our own views and ideas. Key word here, guys, is question. Question everything. I don't care if it makes perfectly good common sense. Question the common sense of it. Yeah, I know. That makes no sense, does it? If it's common sense, you probably shouldn't be questioning it. But we live in a day and age where what is common sense? It's in the eye of the beholder. What's common sense to me might not be common sense to you, just because how we were brought up, how we learn things. I'll give you an example. Everybody know what the KISS acronym is, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Nobody's stupid. Get that out of the way. But that's the acronym for it. Keep it simple. Yeah, that don't work for me. Simplicity is not my friend. Give me something complex and I'll have a field day. In fact, I'll figure out something complex quicker than I will figure out something simple. I don't know, that's just the way my screwed up mind is wired. As my one friend said, you put him in, you all get locked up in a room and all Smiley has to do is disable that ticking time bomb. Yep, we're dead. That's all I said. Then he said, it's like, for those of you that don't get it, we're all locked in a room. We get out of this room before we all get blown to pieces. All Smiley has to do is put together that ticking time bomb, and we'll walk out of here, and that thing will never go off. Yeah, I know. Joke on me. But true. I see complex things as simple. Not everything complex. There's certain complexities out there that, yeah, have fun. It's usually because that's something complex. That complex has something very simple to it, and I just can't see past the simplicity or the complexity. Moves and countermoves wrap something simple and something complex. Everybody will overlook the simplicity of it. Like I said, what's the best place to hide something? Right in front of your face. Moves and countermoves. We deal with them every day. We see them play out every day. Many times they think of us as the pawns, their puppets. They forget the most important aspect of chess, the most important piece in chess is the pawn. Some of them know it. They just don't know how to use it. One, I'm nobody's pawn. But hey, you want to use me as a pawn, that's your first mistake. And your last. And that should be your viewpoint. Nobody should be using you as pawns. But don't blow the ruse. Let them believe that. You know better. And you now become the grand monkey wrench in the game. You became that controlled chaos. Which makes me a hypocrite because I said you can't control chaos. Right? Can you? If you are the catalyst, if you are the manipulator, if you see through it, if you realize it's just that, if you realize that one simple thing, it's always darkest before the dawn. You are the dawn, you are the shining light. Therefore you dispel that chaos. You realize you have dominion over it. I can go many places. I can tell you the true secret of why occultists let you keep believing in all the things you want to believe. Why all of you, right, beginning to dislike the term boogeyman, because everybody wants to say, oh, this because of the boogeyman is. The boogeyman's the one. You know what the boogeyman is? The bedside story that meant to scare kids. It's meant to control you with fear. There's no boogeyman. Control your fear. You should have no fear. Actually, you should have one fear. And that is the fear of God. But then again, you should be wrapping yourself, as everyone likes to quote, in the armor of God. Then anything before you should fear you. Quit judging people. That is another part of moves and counter moves. We're taught to judge everybody. You know, I hear so many of you on all these different sides say you believe in the Constitution. But yet when it goes against your ideology or against your religious belief, everything else is the boogeyman. Everything else is evil. They don't have the right. You're living in the wrong country. This ain't Russia. Our forefathers understood this. Our forefathers understood moves and counter moves. They understood where their forefathers came from, what they fought, what they left when they fled Europe to avoid persecution, avoid the witch burning that were taking place there, because they were free thinkers and they didn't want to concede to the Catholic Church. They didn't want to bow down to the king. There's a reason why we don't kneel to our flag. There's a reason why we stand. When we take a knee, we subjugate ourselves. We give ourselves to that king, that ruler. We're only supposed to kneel when we pray. For those that actually believe that. Our Constitution was written the way it was for a reason. That's why I do not support the NRA. I will never give an inch. My forefather never gave an inch to the Constitution after signing the Constitution. And it's been taught from his generation to the next, on down the line to my present generation. Yes, I have come from a line of the forefathers. Never give an inch when it comes to our Constitution. They created it for a reason. They worded it for a reason. So we wouldn't repeat history. So we wouldn't become what we fled. Yet, as history has shown us about that, some of those that fled still want to carry on those ideologies. They want us to kneel. They want us to treat them like they are nobility. our rulers. And that is a part of the grand chess game that's been going on for centuries. We bow to no one. Our Constitution mocks everything that a monarchy stood for. Because it is we the people, we that put them in power, we that can take them out of power. It is we. That's what our forefathers gave us. The ability to be equals. Yes, it took a few amendments to make sure everybody was treated as equal. Sadly, we're not supposed to be looking at each other as black, white, Hispanic. That's another part of moves and countermoves. Let's throw racism in. Let's divide them by racism. Let's get them to argue and fight. And the fact is, we are a multicultural nation. Our forefathers were all from various parts of the world. Yes, most of them came from Europe, but if you trace their lineages, you'll find it as my ancestors, Germanic and Irish, later European. See, as this grand chessboard that's playing out, they want you to be subjugated to the king or queen, to the nobility, the knight, the bishop. Nobody ever questioned why the pieces of the chessboard are called what they are. Chess is a very old game that dates back, some say pre-Egyptian, Babylonian, Sumerian. Why they create the pieces, why they give them the names they gave them. Why is it only true chess masters understand that the pawn is the most important piece? We, the people, are the most important piece. Be free thinkers, be free. Understand that when you claim to support the Constitution, it also means you claim to respect everything and everyone. There is no black, white, Hispanic, Asian. We are American. That is our nationality. That's who we are as a people, we the people. Don't let them control you by race. Don't let them control you by cultural issues. Become the true grand masterpiece of the chessboard. And understand what we see even in the NFL, that's moves and counter moves. They're using it to stir up division. You know? Because we all know there is corrupt police. But there's more good ones than bad ones. Stop blaming them. In fact, you want to fix the problem? Give them a raise. That's the part I don't get. Truck drivers and various other people, they get hazard pay for a dangerous job. Even in the military, they get hazard pay when they go on combat missions. We need to give our police more incentive so they can't be bought off, so they're not drawn into more of a corruption role. Because we do live in hard times. It's hard to get by, and they got it very shitty under the stick for the job that they do and what is required of them to protect and serve. They don't get paid enough. nor do they get the respect that they need. They're always being judged by the bad apples. And let me tell you something. There's bad apples in every group, every ideology. Quit judging based on the bad apple. Stop letting them manipulate you. Open your eyes. Take a break. Observe. Don't think. Don't think, but question. Everything. Question everything that you've been taught. Compare it to other people's ideas and views. Try to figure out why they believe that. Question it. Also question what you've been taught. Does it fall into one of these moves and counter moves? If it does, maybe there's some reality that you need to face. That maybe you've been misled and deceived this whole time. Or maybe you'll start seeing the core issues, the real issues, why things are happening. I've given plenty of examples. What you do with this information, how you interpret it, is on you. I can't think for you. Because if I was thinking for you, that means you're not living your life. You're not you're a free thinker. Be the free thinker. Think for yourself. Think outside the box. Listen to other views and ideologies and other people's opinions. They always question what you. This is how we break this vicious cycle that they keep using against us. Moves and counter moves. Start playing your own moves and counter moves. You know, like I said, I gave him a couple of interesting theories that, who knows if it'll play out. Some of the pieces fit, but you can play devil advocate on that too. See what I mean? But by talking about these things and sharing these ideas, we've just added our own moves and counter moves into the game. Whether it be we're now going to be a little bit more prepared for something like that to happen. Or we're going to see an example and demand the same takes place here, which therefore may turn what just happened to be hogwash into something real, and it does happen. But by now I'm sure I've pissed everybody off. Nobody's probably going to get past this part, so. But why did I do that? Did you ask yourself that? Why'd you let me trigger you? Why did I trigger you? I've done a video on that one. Because something I said struck home. Trigger can be a good tool when used properly. You know, that old saying, sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah, it does. You know? But, hey, you gotta have an open mind. You gotta be a free thinker. You gotta be able to, I think I amazed Pam a little bit. Kind of missed her tonight. She shared a bunch of links. I'm familiar with a bunch, but there was several that I wasn't. In areas that I've not actually researched or looked into. That's what it's about. Learning new things, new ideas, new philosophies. seeing how it affects you. Does it change your views on things? Does it make you think? Does it make you question? If it does, well, damn, it did its job. That's what it's supposed to be about. And on that note, I am out of here. I'm trying to keep these videos under an hour, hour and a half, which I know for those that caught my return on Saturday night, yeah, that was almost a 5 hour straight. I guess I had a lot to say. But like I said, this is something else I want to cover before in closing. It's all right to take a break from the internet, from your phones. Go out, do things, socialize. Don't pick up that phone. Don't check the notifications for a day or so. It clears your mind. We're so bombarded. I brung this up on thing. You don't realize how bad the bombardment is. Like I said, look into the Mesmer effect. With the pixel, how lights affect us. How pixels. The more pixels you get, the more you can introduce. Start looking into other theories like our cell phones. Everything has a frequency and vibration. That's just where my issue comes with people that try to go down that rabbit hole of numerology. It's supposed to be broken down from 1 to 0 or 1 to 10, which is usually 1 through 9. Now, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, anything that ends in a numeral and a 0 has a meaning. Anything else that's like 86, 87, 122 gets broken down till you can't break it down no more, which you end up getting 1 through 9 usually. Or a prime number, 50, 60, The 86, 122, that is the vibration or frequency. That is the vibration that it resonates. But as I also stated, when you're always looking for those things, you will see it everywhere. Because it is everywhere. Most people don't realize our alphabet is attributed to numbers. Our alphabet and letters have a frequency, a vibration. You see it everywhere. Our basic DNA structure has a numeric value. And it's a dangerous thing for those that don't know how to protect themselves, because it opens floodgates and you get flooded with all kinds of stuff, and stuff that, trust me, you don't want to mess with. As my grandfather always said, sit back, listen, observe. Everything has a message if you're just open enough to hear it. Even that homeless guy that's just happened to walk by you just said something that you caught. Even though he's like 50 yards away. You heard it. That message was for you. Start learning how to do that. And it'll help you start seeing some of these moves and counter moves. But like I said, tonight's discussion was for fun. It was theories, opinions, views, hypotheses, some facts. Take it for what you want to take it for. And on that note, it is 1 a.m. here. I wish you guys all a good night. Have a safe week. And enjoy yourselves. Don't let this crazy world get you down. Better yet, in this crazy time, in this dark time, be what you're supposed to be. Like that bright light, that bright shining star, guiding people. Be that beacon. I'll see you on the next time.